this is Mark.
And this is Francois doing the Daily Ride podcast for Tuesday, March 6th, 2018.
And even though
there was nothing going on between us and the Lemon Sisters, just sex,
we're still putting the commute in commuter entertainment.
Guess we'll just start recording then.
Does it record sound or just...
Yeah, it records sound. It's a nice little backup.
Sure.
If we need it. Okay.
Okay. So now people get a little behind the scenes.
Yeah. Little BTS.
Sure.
Little BTS, baby. That's what they call it.
That
In the biz.
Because they don't have time.
They don't have time.
They can't waste their time saying
behind.
That's too many.
Behind the scenes.
Whoa,
that's too many scenes.
Yeah, it takes too much.
Un poco loco.
You good? You good? All right. Well.
And we're recording.
Here's to our first.
Here's the video.
Video.
Yeah. Into the 21st century, baby. 2017.
I'm glad they invented video this century.
It's a year of video.
I don't know what we would have done with it before. How we survived without it.
Did you watch the Academy Awards?
How about no?
Yeah, me neither. I guess we can't talk about that then.
Was it the Academy Awards? Is that what the Oscars are?
Clear. I think so, yeah.
I just can't. I can't sit around for a bunch of self-congratulating millionaires. I can't do that.
Look how good we did.
Exactly.
We did. I acted so good. Damn well better have. You got paid millions of dollars for that.
You know, the reward seems to me to already be in their pockets. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they're adulating fans. I don't see the appeal, quite frankly.
To the Academy Awards?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like, I think for some things, I think it's good. Like, I think
your mom liked to watch all the pretty dresses go down the red carpet.
Yeah, she likes that.
She likes that.
But I was thinking more specifically for the people who don't get recognized. You know, on the
key
film.
grip, best key grip.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
But those guys don't make it to the TV.
Well, they don't make it to the TV, but they do get the awards.
No, I understand.
They do the whole thing.
But they don't get any adulation.
No.
I mean, it's nice to... You're absolutely right. It's really nice to give...
Like, for instance, like, Terrence's dad, who does the sound for Sesame Street...
No, absolutely.
...wins an Emmy, and then he gets to say, yes, I've got, like... I think he's got, like, I don't know, 47 Emmys at this point. It's actually a little ridiculous. They line the walls of the house.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so... and they come in a cool box.
Sure.
Oh, man, I didn't realize, but they come in, like, this black box with, like, a velvet lining.
Sure.
And I really wanted one, but I couldn't think of a thing to do with it.
But
I really wanted it.
You wanted one, but you didn't want to do it. Yeah. Take the effort to earn one.
I think he throws them away. Like, he just tosses them. Yeah. Because, like, you think all of a sudden you've got 47 Emmy boxes. They're like a foot and a half by...
And he just treats it like a fancy wrapper.
Kind of, yeah. And I was like, like, I really want it. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's good for stuff like that, where the guys who
recognize
do the BTS work,
yes,
as we say in the biz.
That's right. Recognizing people for their efforts, and especially like you say, when especially in an industry like that where it's all about ego, and everybody's getting their egos continually stroked, but meanwhile you're the Foley artist or the the grip, or the what does a grip do?
A key grip?
Not
the key grip.
Just a regular grip.
Just a regular grip. It helps out on set. Literally, like, just, we need somebody to move that light.
Do PAs ever win an award, or that's no way a PA's win an award?
PA.
Production assistant.
Yeah, I think they win awards.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm with you that it's nice that the industry rewards.
I'm not sure why you need two names for essentially the same thing. I think production assistant, grip. You got to be doing the same thing.
No, I don't think. I think one's more technical. I think the grip is doing more. I think the PA is literally running around getting coffee for folks and.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You know, is a real gopher.
Like a more secretarial kind of thing.
Just
almost?
a gopher.
Right.
Just
okay.
like, you know, that guy cut him the key grip. Just cut his finger. Can you run get him a Band-Aid?
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I think. I mean, I've never been on a set like that, so I honestly don't know. But I think Chris has talked to me about doing stuff like that. So.
Sure. We should ask him.
We should ask.
We'll get back with answers. Hey, speaking of
for those of you who don't have access to the internet.
That's a fair point. So, speaking of production, we're going to be getting our fancy new mics, or today.
Yeah, right, right. The sound quality is going to take a jump up like you've never seen.
Just explode. It's going to explode. It's going to be huge. It's going to be best sound you've ever heard.
I said best fucking sound ever.
Best podcast ever.
There's
never been a better podcast.
Better podcast, better sound. This will be the best podcast ever.
It's the greatest podcast.
So I'm watching this stupid Star Trek franchise, Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. You talked about this a little last week, I think. Yeah.
Right, but amazing new development.
Ooh. I'm listening.
As you might imagine. So I'm watching, and I'm kind of dozing.
Sure.
You know, sort of, it's my go to sleep show.
Yeah.
So I'm watching, and they're doing a prisoner exchange with an alien.
Okay.
And I'm like, hey, it's Leonard Nimoy. They got him to play one of the aliens. Got him all dressed up like an alien.
And is it Spock?
It's Iggy Pop.
It's Iggy Pop is the alien.
Yeah.
No way.
What I like, you know, all of a sudden I'm awake now. I'm like, could it be Iggy Pop? You know, he's got alien, you know, but it's Iggy Pop.
Really?
And then I went and I looked it up, and sure enough, Iggy Pop. Yeah, plays a Horta. I'm like, you know, I'm probably.
Is that like a Horta?
No, nothing like a Horta.
Vortas and the Hortas, they don't.
Vorta's a humanoid life form.
Made of silicon?
No.
Oh.
Carbon based.
Damn. All right. So.
That's why we're at war with them, because we're fighting over the same resources.
I see.
Hortas we don't have to fight with. They just dig holes for us, and we collect the gems they ship behind them.
Cool.
Right? I mean, isn't that how it worked out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sweet gig.
Very sweet gig. Anyway, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Iggy Pop.
Also kind of dabbling on slave labor, but...
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, eventually the singer for the Doughboys Montreal band,
yeah,
his ex-wife and mother of his child play in one of these Deep Space Nine seasons.
Right.
I don't think I've seen her yet.
His ex-wife, Christina Hendricks?
No, I'm drawing. No, that's his current wife, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm blanking on her name right now. Pretty girl.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Wife of the Doughboys, as she'll henceforth be known. Ex-wife of the Doughboy.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm sure that pleases her.
Anyway, but I haven't seen her yet.
Okay, so you're kind of hanging in for that.
I keep my eyes open for that.
Nice.
I'm totally blanking on her name right now.
Did you know that Iggy Pop was once tackled by a man in a gorilla suit? And the man in the gorilla suit was Elton John?
You're making that shit
Fun
up.
fact.
You're making that shit up.
Nope.
Why?
I don't know. I didn't read the source material. I just read it on a fun facts website. Like a lot of my knowledge.
Sure.
It comes from a fun
lot
fact.
of what passes for your knowledge.
Hey. Maybe.
That is bizarre. I was telling someone about Iggy's performance in dead man.
Yeah.
You remember that?
He played a sort of more major role in that movie, right?
Well, he plays a major role in a certain part of it. You know, there's this part where Johnny Depp stumbles into this weird camp scene. You know, like it's in the West, Wild West. And these three guys have set up camp, and Iggy Pop's dressed up. He's the woman. He's playing the woman in the camp.
Nice.
And it's a really kind of creepy scene.
Sure.
As he stumbles across these three weirdos around a campfire.
Iggy Pop as a woman is a creepy thought. So.
Yeah. Not a pretty woman, by the way.
Seriously?
He's no Lou Reed. He's no Lou Reed. He's no Lou Reed.
Does Lou Reed make a pretty woman?
Have you seen the back of Transformer?
I guess not.
Oh, you should check out the back of the Transformer album.
Huh.
Because they've got, you know, there he is as a dude.
It's not like high-res... No, that's not the high-res black and white one. Or not high-res, but high-contrast black and white one.
The front may be that, so it's a picture of him.
I've never seen the back of it then. Because I was thinking of the Transformers. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know the Transformers.
I'm pretty sure he's dolled up on the back.
Okay.
I'm almost certain.
That was a very trendy thing to do back then.
Get dolled up like that.
That was what all the hipsters were about.
I think David Johansen tried to pull it off. He's not as pretty a woman.
No. Well, all the New York dolls.
Kind of. I don't think they were happy about that, though.
That's kind of funny.
I think Johnny Thunders was not amused.
He was not thrilled.
Dressing up like a... And who was their manager? Malcolm McLaren?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So
every band has that one guy who's just like, I don't want to do the thing.
Well, I think it may have been two guys in
I
this
am
band.
what I am.
Well, I mean, you know, to some extent, you know, Johnny Thunders was a sort of a bit of a dandy, as dandy as a punk can be.
Johnny Thunders? Yes, I guess I'm getting him confused with Johnny Rotten.
Who was also managed by Malcolm McLaren.
Right, I always get him kind of mixed up in my head.
No, Johnny Thunder, you know, he's sort of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of him in Paris.
Yeah.
But he's, you know, he's sort of, I mean, he's definitely got that New York fuck you kind of attitude, which he's always had, as far as I know. But he was also like, you know, he fancied himself, he was into the fashion.
Right.
And fancied himself like a snappy dresser.
Interesting.
In a punk way, like not, you know, not,
you know, leather and...
He wasn't wearing a zoot suit or anything, you know. But yeah, exactly. So I don't think he was particularly happy dressing up in a tutu. Which I think is what he wore on stage.
Well, I mean, like, you don't think he was, like, sort of, like, into the showmanship of it? Or...
I mean...
Or maybe that's just why he did it, even though he fucking hated it?
I mean, I think when you're in a
when
you're in a punk band,
when the other male members of the band,
I think
of the band outnumber you.
Well, I think you just want to play, right?
Sure.
So you're like, and everybody's, we're gonna dress up like we're the New York Dolls. We're gonna dress up like girls. And you're like, that's a fucking stupid idea. And everybody else says, no, it'll be funny, or whatever.
It'll be ironic.
Whatever, yeah, exactly. Well, the feminists hadn't created the hipsters yet, but.
They were born in a lab.
I think you just. I think it really was one of those things where this will be out.
This will be in the summer.
This will be outrageous.
Right. Okay.
A male band all dressed, all in drag.
Yeah.
That'll be outrageous. People won't know what the fuck to think.
Well, I guess it was at the time.
Well, it kind of was a little bit. But look at them, man. They're not a pretty sight. And
they were not trying very hard.
Well,
their feminine wiles left something to be desired.
I think David Johansen was enjoying it.
Sure.
But I think the rest of them were not. I don't know. I haven't. I just know that I've heard interviews with him where he wasn't happy about dressing up like putting the women's clothing. That was not.
Well, that's very funny.
That was not what he was into. But he did it, and he went on, and he played, and he banged out his tunes.
All right.
And he got obviously much better over the years in playing.
Sure.
But because of all of them, I think he's produced the music I like the best.
Did he play with... who else did he play with?
Well, it was Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah?
I mean, it was not Tom Petty's band, but it was something like it was something like that. It was the Heartbreakers or the
Heartstabbers.
I think it was the Heartbreakers.
Yeah? Okay. Did he play with...
But I'm old. My memory's failing.
Well, and he had all his own stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, he wrote "Can't Put Your Arms Around Her Memory," and he wrote "Born to Lose," I think.
Right.
Or am I thinking of stupid?
Now he's dead, right?
He's very dead right now.
From a heroin overdose.
I think so. Some drug, certainly some
causes
drug related.
to be determined.
Well, certainly some drug related malady. Yeah.
That's sad.
Very sad. Yeah.
I have watched those videos of him just like collapsing on stage, just like nodding on stage. It's a little sad. It's funny for like 30 seconds.
Right.
And then immediately it's like, oh, he
well,
needs
it's not
to
just
go to a
sad. It's just
hospital.
like, well, it's not only sad, but it's also like, if I were in that audience and I paid to hear "Born to Lose," is that
right?
It's not Stip Baders, is it? I'm always getting their music confused.
Stip Baders is "Born to Lose."
Who
right?
did "Swingin' a Go-Go"?
Stip Baders.
Okay, and who did "So Alone"?
I think Johnny Thunders.
Who did "A Million Miles from Home"?
Stip Baders.
See, I'm always getting their music confused.
Yeah. No, I know. I do the same thing.
I mean, I know he did "Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory."
Right.
And I'm pretty...
His most notable
And he
song.
did "Search and Destroy." He did a great version of "Search and Destroy," as I recall.
Cool. Iggy Pop's tune.
Speaking of Iggy,
Tune. It's tune. When it's British, you gotta say tune. Tune.
Neither of those guys are very British, though.
That's true.
Anyway, so I
know that. I was just saying.
Sure. No, if you were British
if you were
and were
British
referring to them.
You would say tune.
Sure you would.
Yeah.
What, how about if you... It sounds a lot like if you were Donald Trump.
No, it's more like tune.
Oh, okay. All right. We got a traffic jam going on here. What the hell?
I know. Something's fucked up.
What the hell?
It's madness!
What are they doing up there?
I think one of the lanes is closed up ahead.
I don't like that.
Let's find out. Let's get a closer look.
I think we will, ultimately.
Now that we're filming this thing, let's get in with the cameras, man.
Eventually, we'll get a closer look.
There it is.
You got
We're closed up ahead.
You got a view up there?
Yeah. So, closed roads.
So, gun control.
Gun control. Yeah, I was thinking about this last night, actually, because I was talking with...
Really?
No, seriously.
Just trying to pull something totally out of the blue. All right.
No, I was thinking about it last night.
Curious about your thoughts.
I was a little... Tell me about the NRA.
Well, they're a gun advocacy.
No, I know. I feel like they're way, way, way misunderstood.
Well, it's not that they're misunderstood, I don't think. I think people understand them very well. They're a gun advocacy group. But what the debate has polarized the dialogue.
Right.
The sides have polarized
between people who want killing machines in people's homes.
Right. They've characterized each other. Well, here's how the NRA supporters. I'm not saying the NRA is doing this because I don't know what the NRA is doing. I don't think many people do. But but the NRA supporters, are portraying the people who want some gun control legislation,
right,
as freedom hating, commies.
Right.
Essentially.
Constitution bashing.
Who want to tell you how to live your life and make you unsafe.
Right.
Right. And so that's how that side portrays the other. And then the side who...
The other side.
The other side. I'm confused.
I got you.
The other side.
Lefties
is portraying people who are advocating for gun rights not necessarily the NRA, because I don't know what their fucking position is. But they're portraying them as,
warmongering.
Yeah, gun-loving killers who don't,
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, who are prepared to let millions die so that they can have their precious guns.
Right.
It's not a very nuanced, public debate.
Right. Well, because my thinking on it is like, it is, I believe that guns are dangerous and we should have the right to own them. I believe both things.
Well, how about, the AK-47s? How about assault rifles? How about military-style weapons? How about tanks? How about bazookas? How about grenades? How about...
well, grenades may be a bit of a stretch, but here's the thing. That Second Amendment was... you have to really sort of go back and think about why that Second Amendment was put in there in the first place.
Yes. You don't have to think too much about it if you're prepared to read the Federalist Papers. You can actually read about it.
You can actually
exactly why. Yeah.
But wasn't it because essentially they were a little concerned that there might be another uprising?
Specifically, they were worried that the British were going to attack again, and so they wanted everybody to be armed so that they could fight them off if they made another run at the States.
Right. And what about, sort of a protection against the government who loves you so much?
Well, that was their government, right? So,
sure.
Of course, they were fearing a tyrannical government. The Brits were their government before they fought for their independence.
I get, if you're just saying, all our population should be armed so we can fight the British if we have to, because now we're sort of considering them a separate thing.
Right, although they did, that's throwing off their government. So They were throwing off their government.
And it made it into the current Constitution, the one that we've been using.
And they did fear that the current government, that the government they were setting up had the potential to become tyrannical.
Well, there you go. And so it's sort of in there and nobody is thinking, I think they've just
everybody, it's funny about
they're
this.
in a million years we'll never have a revolution. The system's too good.
Right. Everybody thinks that until they're, everybody thinks the food chain is fine until they're starving to death. Everybody thinks their government is benevolent until they're throwing them in jail. Everybody thinks, you can always make those arguments. And it's true that we have a fairly stable government here, and it's unlikely. But, they probably thought they had a fairly stable government in Bosnia.
Sure.
They probably thought they had a fairly stable government in Chechnya. Maybe not one that they liked, but fairly
stable.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So, you always think you're good until you're not.
Sure.
But Americans weren't raised like that. We were educated by our history to think we're not okay. The relationship between the people who we believe should be governing, and that's not universal, not every country believes that.
Right.
But the relationship that the people have between the entity that they set up to govern them, to govern themselves, is a tenuous one. And people argue that it's not. People will make the argument, the government, they're on our side, they're always doing good for us. I think that's a pretty...
naive.
It's naive, and it is... do they feel that way about Donald Trump?
Sure.
Maybe you want to have a gun now with Donald Trump in power.
Yeah.
Or guys like him. I don't know.
Right.
That when your guy
he
is
in control of the military, after all.
When your guy is
the commander-in-chief, I believe.
When your guy is in, you don't want anybody else to have gun, and when your guy is out, you want everybody to be armed.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of sort of double standard. Now maybe they don't feel like that. Maybe gun
control,
gun control advocates feel like no matter how horrible the government gets, people having guns is worse. And that's a fair argument to make. That's a fair
But that's not what they're saying.
Well, I don't know that. I mean, some of them.
Well, I mean, I've never just heard saying hey, it doesn't matter how
because it's not a nuanced debate,
right?
Because it's not a debate where it's when children
Where you need
children are killed by a gun-toting lunatic.
Yes. Horrible crime.
It doesn't leave room. It's very difficult in that moment, or in any moment, for example.
To say, no, trust me, guns are good.
Or to say that was an acceptable risk
for the freedom of owning guns.
For the freedom, and really we're not talking about the freedom, but we're talking about the security of owning guns. The security against a tyrannical government, security against a mugger on the street, security,
Right.
And a lot, and you can make the argument on both sides. You can say that it's not worth it.
Sure.
Like you can say it's not worth those. But, like, for example, we all hop around and we ride in our cars, and 40,000 plus people a year die in car accidents. But we say, as a society, without saying it,
sure,
that's an acceptable risk.
Right. And I don't know the exact statistics on this, so anyone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I would venture a lot more people die in car accidents than die by gun violence.
That's true. But it seems to people making the argument, and I can understand this argument, that dying in a car accident
is less horrific.
Well,
in a weird.
Yes. Well, for one thing, fewer people die in each individual instance. So it's not like you can have
a car accident where people don't die.
It's not in some. Yes, for example.
But it's hard to have a gun accident where you don't die.
No, people get shot and don't shot all the time and don't die.
Like that instructor who's
teaching
the class shoots himself in the foot.
Every once in a while, just when I need a good laugh, I watch that.
Oh man. And he's like trying to continue the class.
Right. And the teacher, I think, is over on the side going, you want to go see the nurse?
Because you should stop.
Usually when a kid does that,
we
send him to the nurse. When a kid shoots himself in the foot, we usually get him to the nurse. You call their parents. Yeah. You want us to call your parents?
Or an ambulance? Anything?
So
we're really not going to make you continue with the class.
But I'm not crazy. In fact, I would support. I'm a pretty freedom-loving guy.
Yeah.
I believe that freedom is an end in itself.
Yeah.
And that it's a pretty precious and not particularly secure state of being.
Sure.
A lot of people in this world live very unfree lives.
Yes.
And I think it's valuable to be free.
Mm-hmm.
For a myriad of reasons I won't go into now. But I'm not opposed to, I don't think a good argument can be made for a kid running around with an 18-year-old kid,
right,
running around with an AK-47,
okay,
with an assault rifle.
So maybe you have to wait until you're 30.
Well, Jesus Christ!
I picked that number totally arbitrarily
because you're 30,
and not.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you can't buy a beer.
Is it voting today?
Yeah.
We don't get to vote though, right?
Not in Burlington.
But in Charlotte.
We could go to town hall if we wanted.
Okay. Oh, hey, speaking of which, when I talked to David's mom, she's running for family court judge.
In Charlotte?
In Charlotte. And we have an opportunity to vote for her on August 14th, I believe she said.
Well, we'll do that.
So when the voting comes around in August, she asked for our and everyone we know's vote.
She's got my vote.
Yep. So.
So, you can't buy a beer until you're 21. Now, I don't think that's a great idea. I think 18 should be the age. But really, we're all prepared to accept the fact that at 21 you can't,
At 20, you are too young to drink, mister.
You can't drive a car. Speaking of those 40,000 dead by car accidents.
Yeah.
You can't drive a car without some training.
Right.
You know,
you can't drive a car.
You know, but
you can go out and buy a 45.
A 14-year-old can have a gun.
Right.
You know,
as long as somebody over 14 bought it for him.
Right. Exactly. The way that guns are now, you know, I was listening to Josh Zepps on his podcast, We the People Live.
Yeah.
And they were talking about gun control and what they do in Australia. And I actually think that the Australian position only works in a really homogeneous society.
Okay.
I think that I think it is a bit overreaching. Not much.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to detail it for you, but essentially they forced everybody to sell their guns back to the government.
Okay.
You have to get essentially the permission of the government to buy a gun.
Okay.
You have to go through, I think, and I could be remembering some of this not quite exactly right, but I think you have to go through a fairly lengthy training process and stuff like that.
Right.
But not all of that is bad.
Right.
I'm not saying all of that is bad. There were just some elements, as he was describing it, that I don't think are very suited to this
environment,
to the American
population,
to the American experience,
the melting pot, as it were.
Sure. But that said, like, I think there is a lot of middle ground.
Yeah.
But both sides in the debate seem to drive completely away from the middle of the ground to the edges.
Right.
Nobody should be allowed to have any
no guns.
No
guns for everybody.
Yeah, guns issued.
Hand them out like Tic Tacs.
Guns issued at birth versus nobody's ever allowed to have any guns ever at all except for the government.
Right.
Two horrible positions.
Yeah.
So both those positions are ridiculous. In my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of middle ground, but we never get to the middle ground because we painted our opponents as the demon. And so you never give any ground to the demon.
Your opponents are not the demons. And speaking of demons, check out the Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter.
Oh, look at you go.
I know.
There's a little housekeeping there.
Yeah.
Right on.
Right on.